Done properly, parenting is a heroic act. Done properly.
Parenting and working full-time is so hard.
Did having kids change my work life? Yeah, you bet it did.
Anybody that's a parent knows that seems to be an endeavor that nobody really knows what they're doing.
How do you not go insane?
Who said we're not going insane?
For a film that seems outwardly very commercial, these movies are strangely personal to me.
I recognize so much of those family dynamics that Brad puts in there. The tensions are real, and the love is real.
There are a lot of scenes in this movie that come from my life. Probably the most direct comparisons are the kind of conversations that Bob and Helen have.
One of us has got to get a job.
One of us?
I love the moment when they're in the bedroom and the way that they're talking to each other.
Bob's having this conversation like I've done with my wife through a wall, through another room, and Helen's kind of talking to him, but she's brushing her teeth, and it's very real.
It's not that simple, Bob.
We actually requested to work on this moment.
It's not that simple, Bob. I want to protect the kids.
I feel like it kind of perfectly married a lot of the themes that go on in our lives.
It's a moment between Helen and Bob where Helen has to make an important decision.
It's not a good time to be away.
This sequence was perfect for us because as a working mother, it's hard to find that balance between life and work. And this is a moment where Helen is trying to decide whether or not to re-enter the workforce.
I'm just not sure I can leave.
Of course you can leave. You've got to.
Bob can't even comprehend why she would even be thinking twice about this. This is an incredible opportunity.
We've gone through this moment before. Even on this film, I think I remember talking with you, and you had an opportunity to go on to a different show, and I was just like, I can't even imagine not working on Incredibles, working with Brad. This is an opportunity as an animator of a lifetime. Awesome. Great, I'm glad.
A scene that really resonates for me is when Helen is on the bike and she gets a phone call.
Hey, Mom, I can't find my high tops and Dad can't find them either, but he won't call you and ask, so Wyatt.
Do not call your mother.
Dash, honey, can't talk right now, but look under your bed, okay?
This is a situation that I have experienced constantly. So I'll be in some big important meeting here at work, and I'm getting text messages from my kids about things that are important in their lives. There's a stain in my blouse and I don't know how to get it out. I'm freaking out. I have a test tomorrow and I'm not ready. Where are my shoes? Constantly.
It's just a wonderful moment of parenthood happening right in the middle of your workday.
As much as she's got on her plate, she's managing it. Not perfectly, because that's part of it. We get a little too attached to perfect.
Since having my son, I identify so much more closely with Elastigirl. Her role, her duty is to be flexible, but not to get stretched too thin.
Bob Parr, as a parent, is confused. I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.
I remember going through math with my father, who was good at math, but he didn't know the way that I was taught.
That is a real parenting moment that I have lived.
The math thing is crazy. They were doing math before the pyramids, and now all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? You're doing it a new way?
We'll just wait for Mom to get back.
What? Well, she won't understand it any better than I do.
Some of the struggles that the parents have with how much to help and how much to just get out of the way are really, things that I know my wife and I are struggling with right now.
I definitely felt like as my daughters were growing up that there were times when you just have to give them their space and let them know you're there.
Dad, if you want me to feel better, then leave me alone.
Be there when they ask for help, but don't impose yourself on them. You have to let children figure things out for themselves.
Bob is intruding on her private, personal relationship life. This is my daughter, who you must know, right?
Hello.
Violet.
Hello, Violet.
That's no man's land, man. You don't go there.
He just wants to take the pain away, and as a parent, sometimes you can't. The best thing you can do is just give your kids space.
Is she having adolescence?
Jack seems like he's the only character that doesn't have power, and then turns out to be a Swiss Army knife of powers.
Just seeing Jack turn into a monster and go on fire and have laser eyes, that's what a baby feels like when it's first in your house. You're like, it's destroying everything and it's gonna hurt itself.
My daughter is definitely Jack. One minute she will be happy, and then the next minute, if you don't give her a cookie, she will explode.
Oh!
No biting a daddy.
Yeah, my daughter could be a bit
like Jack in that, she was volatile. I've heard her use words that she probably heard me say.
Getting used to that baby schedule of no sleep was the biggest learning curve I think I've ever had.
The most tired you ever are as a parent is the first 3 months of being a parent, just trying to keep this little precious thing alive. Looking back, it was a complete blur, but I'll never forget it.
Between 6 and 10 weeks with twins was the low point.
We'd be in the same room, and I'm holding one boy, she has the other, and we're trying to say, like, what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? And we can't even really get the answer out. We're like, dinner? Is it already 6?
Did we have lunch? When was the last time we changed them?
I did forget my kid in a restaurant once. I mean, haven't we all?
You know, him falling asleep in the middle of reading a sentence in a book and the kid smacking your face to wake you up.
I hear him snoring in the middle of book reading.
Oh, yeah, that happens about every 6th night.
Closing!
My favorite thing about being a working mom is when I need a break from home, I can go to work, and when I need a break from work, I can go home. That's a great thing, and sometimes it's a hard thing, because it's really just going from one job to the other.
I'm so loaded down with homework when I get home. Work is actually a place of sanctuary for me.
The scene that I identify most with in Incredibles is dinner time.
Do you have to read at the table?
Helen screams at Bob, "Engage, Bob, engage!"
Do something! Don't just stand there! I need you to intervene!
Oftentimes just coming home at the end of the day of working here from 9 to 7, you're tired and spent a lot of time with a lot of people and I'm ready for quiet. And when I get home, my kids are ready for me. And I always tell myself from the minute I get home to when they go to bed, try to focus in on just how can I make that time the best possible for us.
Even before I was a single parent, when the girls were really young and I was working a lot of hours, there's things you miss. There's just things you miss.
But this, our family, is what's happening now, Bob. And you are missing this.
I feel like I'm never doing a good job at either one. I feel like I'm half at work and half at home.
I felt so guilty. I feel guilty all the time. I've always regretted that I didn't have a chance to spend more time with them. And then I've also regretted that I haven't been able to put as much energy into my career as I would have liked. You have to stretch, Elastigirl style, to do it all.
We have no routine. It's always just kind of wake up and get everybody where they need to be and fed and out the door in 3 different drop-offs.
Hey, the bus is here!
I learned a lot of different things. One is there's no such thing as balance.
Put your homework in your pack.
It is always a juggling act, and you're never really gonna feel like you've found your footing. So you just need to be at peace with that.
It's not about finding the perfect place in the middle and then not moving. It's about constantly adjusting so that you don't fall one way or the other.
I'm a part-time co-parent, so I only see my daughter 50% of the time, and I'm not willing to give up any percentage of that 50%. So I have very strict deadlines and boundaries in terms of getting out of the office and the care that I have to provide my daughter.
Yes, we met here at Pixar.
Her office was near my boss's office, and I found myself wanting to have more meetings with my boss, so I had an excuse to go over to that part of the building. Because we're together, we can grab lunch together, we can drop keys off in each other's offices.
We live together, we went to school together, we commute together sometimes, we work in the same building. And so every once in a while, it is kind of nice to have lunch with somebody else.
We're both on the same film, so we have to manage our personal lives as well as our time on the film. So there's meetings early in the morning. For instance, this morning was one. One of us has to take the kids to daycare. So this morning we decided we both take them to daycare because we thought it'd be faster.
Yeah.
So that we can get here.
We were wrong.
We were wrong.
If Lindsay needs to hit priorities or show in reviews, that maybe this week she'll be the priority for the week and I'll be a little bit more kind of taking care of the boys in the morning.
We have to somewhat be our own mini producers of our own schedules and lives.
When we leave here and put the kids to bed, we're back online working, and we sit side by side basically from 8:30 till midnight every night. We're working to try to supplement the hours.
Early on, I would spend the night at work, but when we started having children, And I would say, but this is really important. And he'd say, not anymore.
I would say, engage, Kim, engage.
I love my work so much, and I love my kids so much. I don't want to give up being a great parent and being there for my kids, and I don't want to give up doing the thing that I love so passionately.
We are two working moms, and we do contemplate, is there a way and where one of us could stay home and raise Danny? But we also want her as a female, when she grows up, to see that a woman doesn't have to give up her career because she wants to have a family.
I want my boys to see their mother be in different roles and provide for the house. I think that's important, and I want them to be proud of me.
I want them to see that just because I am their mom doesn't mean I have to stop being an animator. I can be both.
The best part of being a parent is, the love you receive from the person that you take care of.
I learned that there is almost no limit to the amount of love you can feel because that just increases every day. Being a parent, it's kind of a magical thing.
My favorite thing about being a parent right now is how much she loves me. It's the coolest thing.
It's exhausting to be a parent, and yet there's nothing finer. That relationship I have with my wife and kids is the most important thing to me in my life by far. You want to be sure that you're sending something positive out into the world, and I hope that I've done that with my films, and I absolutely believe that my wife and I have done that with our kids.